Good morning, everyone. It is February, therefore we're talking about winter weather. Something that I have a little bit of experience with, having been born and raised in Buffalo, New York, where we've dealt with everything from a 7-foot snowfall in the course of 2 days, taller than I am, as well as many ice events. So I feel confident that we can handle this. Also, I'm joined by some incredible partners of mine who've really been tested in the few short months that we've been in office. And I want to thank my dream team, Catherine Garcia, the Director of State Operations, Jackie Bray, the Commissioner, Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services, Marie-Therese Dominguez, the Commissioner of DOT, as well as we're joined by Pat Ryan, the Commissioner of Ulster, not the Commissioner, the County Executive of Ulster County, and Steve Noble, the Mayor of Kingston, as well as Assembly Member Cahill and Senator Hinchy, who had to dig themselves out to get over here today, but I want to thank them for being amazing partners here as we continue through this challenge. And it is a challenge, what we're experiencing right now. We are looking at ice accumulation. We tracked this event from the very beginning, and we saw that this would be a major snow event, and the snow has been concentrated in areas like Buffalo, where we literally had to send in extra snow plows at the request of the mayor to help them dig out, which is important. You can see the snow accumulations, but what is really treacherous? Yes, while this storm is throwing everything at us, we have snow, we have freezing rain, we have sleet, we have icy roads, and so we're looking at this combination here in the Hudson Valley in Ulster County. Our biggest concern right now is ice on the roads. The challenge is that, yes, we have a magnificent crew of individuals who know how to salt the roads in advance to stop the ice from forming, but when the first weather event is rain, it washes the salt off the roads, and that creates a challenge. But they were literally deployed the second they could. They're out there, and we're going to continue being concerned about some commutes. It's too bad it's not a Saturday like we experienced with our last major snow event downstate. Was concentrated on a weekend, which made it a lot easier for people to get to where they had to go, but we actually encouraged them to stay home. No one had to necessarily get to jobs as many as others they would on a normal weekday. Here we are dealing with commutes, and so our best advice is just to stay off the roads. They're absolutely hazardous, and in anticipation of this, we have literally the DOT crews out there. You'll hear from our Commissioner of DOT. Thruway Authority's been all over. Matt Driscoll is handling operations elsewhere in the state, as well as thousands of utility workers. These are the people. When the power starts going out, and we have over 48,000 power outages, mostly in the Hudson Valley. I believe we're about 36 or 39,000 right in Ulster County. That is a lot of people, given that the population is 175,000. It's a lot of families who are without power as we speak. We have already had over 550 utility teams on the ground, but now we have other individuals coming. You're going to hear about that as well. Most schools are closed. That is the right thing to do. Certainly you can use remote learning. We know how to do that as well. But we are going to continue to monitor local forecasts and preparing for the worst. That's how we handle these storms. You prepare for the worst, you hope for the best. And right now, we do believe that the concentration of the weather activity will abate by this evening, which is good. But until then, it is going to be literally a day full of freezing rain coming down. We've not had major traffic incidences at this time, but that is always subject to one car sliding off and others following, or multi-car accidents, which we've seen happen all too frequently during these winter storm events. So the best place to be, at home. Protect yourselves, and hopefully everybody is prepared at home with flashlights, those chargers for your cell phones that do not have to be plugged in, that you've already been prepared in anticipation, plenty of food and water. Same thing with outfitting your vehicles. You do not know if you're making that one run to the store that you're not going to end up in a ditch because of the icy roads, and you want to make sure that you are protected. Get the sand or cat litter in the back of the car. You can put that under the tires. It works every time to pull yourself out. But also just having the blankets, food, water in your vehicle during the winter time, that is the best thing, as well as that all multi-purpose scraper. How many times have I had to scrape inches of ice off the windows? It's not fun, but it's part of living in New York State in the wintertime. So with that, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Bray to give us a further update on what is going on here. Commissioner Bray?
Thank you, Governor. As the governor said, we're in the middle of a statewide winter weather event. I just want to do a minute on snow totals in the west and central New York. We saw over a foot up to 18 inches fall already in the Finger Lakes, central New York, and parts of the Mohawk Valley, really centered on the Syracuse area. We've seen 8 to 12 inches fall in the North Country and other parts of Western New York on the southern tier. We've got 4 to 6 inches that fell around the capital region. But as the governor said, the main hazard in this storm is ice. We've had well over a quarter of an inch of ice accumulation in the Hudson Valley and the capital region. We expect another quarter of an inch over the course of the day today. So we're going to max out with this storm around half an inch of ice. That's a lot of ice. As the governor said, that has meant significant power outages here in Ulster County. I'm a resident of Ulster County. I know my home is without power. We are very focused on getting power back, and particularly getting power back here in Ulster. We've got over 5,700 people out across the state managing power and restoring power. We've got over 500 here in the Hudson Valley, and we're bringing in more. We've activated mutual aid so that as we're able to clear other power issues, folks will be coming here to the Hudson Valley to continue restoration. In addition, we have dozens of cut and toss crews that will be deploying, that have deployed, that will continue to deploy, and that will focus their work here in the Hudson Valley and here in Ulster to try to move some of those trees. I do want to just say all of our stockpiles are open. We've been coordinating with our county governments for the last several days. We are embedded with the Ulster County team, and we appreciate the partnership of County Executive Ryan. The storm will end today. We expect your roads to be clear tomorrow, and then we expect relatively mild weather for the next few days. So if you sit tight today, we should be able to get you back and running soon. With that, I'm going to introduce Commissioner Dominguez, who's got an update on our roads.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor. Thank you so much, Governor. Director Garcia, Commissioner Bray, all of our local partners here. It is great to be with you all this morning. I wish Puxatawny Phil had had gotten it right this year.
Can I add to that?
Yes.
Where I come from, 6 weeks more winter is an early spring.
Exactly.
So we're fine with that.
We're okay with it. Okay. But in all seriousness, actually, Governor Hochul has really had a laser-like focus this winter on snow and ice preparedness, as well as response in areas all across New York State, and certainly this storm is impacting a good portion of the state. I've personally been with the governor a few times now. It seems like if it's Friday, there's a storm event. But in all seriousness, this storm is really impacting us all across the state, certainly with the power outages here in Ulster County alone. But we've been working, New York State DOT has been working with our partners at the Thruway Authority, Homeland Security, and all the other government agencies, and we are out there hitting the roads and hitting them hard. Last week, we sent about 100 people out from across the state down to Long Island to help to respond to the storm down there, help dig everybody out, and they did a great job. Everybody worked together, got it all done. And this week, we're having folks from Long Island come upstate to return the favor. We sent about 27 operators in total with supervisors and equipment, and they are deployed in the capital region, in central New York, and the southern tier, really helping out our DOT teams across the state. This is certainly a large statewide event, but we've, as the governor said, we've been planning for it, and we're ready. Here in the Hudson Valley, DOT has a good number of assets in place that are being deployed, 447 supervisors and operators, 294 large medium duty plow trucks, 56 large loaders, 4 tow plows, and 1 very, very large snow blower. At the end of the day, DOT is staffed 24/7 for operations throughout this entire event. We've got fleet mechanics who are working around the clock to make sure our equipment stays up and operating, and we don't lose any of our equipment during this time. I say this often, but really, New York State DOT really does have an elite snow fighting team, and we're at it constantly. Our forces have been out, as I said, working around the clock, not just here in the Hudson Valley, but across the state, and we're going to stay on it until all the roads are clear. We're hoping that's sometime later this evening, early into the morning. We will stay at it, though, because given the fact that the temperatures are changing, we need to make sure that we're covered for any additional freeze and making sure that the roads are clear of ice. So a couple safety notes. We've been working in coordination with the state police, as I said, and the Thruway Authority. DOT has implemented a 45-mile-an-hour advisory speed limit for the right lane only restriction for commercial trucks on all or portions of the following corridors. This started last night about 8 o'clock. So, right lane restrictions for trucks on I-84 from the Connecticut to Pennsylvania state lines, Route 17 east of Binghamton, I-88, and I-81 south of Syracuse. Additionally, just because we've got such significant utility impacts, DOT has deployed about 56 generators from our stockpile and want to make sure that any traffic signals that are experiencing any power outages, that we've got capability to have backup on all of them. A quick note to motorists. If a traffic signal is out, it's not cause for a free-for-all. It's an automatic stop. Come to the intersection and please treat it as a four-way stop, okay? And be cognizant that the person to your right and so on around the circle gets priority. As Commissioner Bray said, we've also got tree crews out, ready on standby, and we've got tow services positioned strategically all around the state to make sure that any truck, any tractor trailer, any accident gets removed safely and quickly. DOT, we prepare for storms like this all year round. Our plow operators, again, working around the clock to make sure our roads are safe for all motorists. And as the governor said, the best thing to do, please stay home. Let us do our job. Let us clear the roadways to make them safe for you. If you have to be out, please drive slowly and recognize that plow trucks only go about 35 miles an hour. And in front of them is a hazardous condition. Snow, ice. You're not going to beat a plow. No way, no how. So please, please, if you see a plow, slow down. Don't crowd the plow. All right, give our plow operators space to do their job. Governor, thank you always for your leadership. We appreciate it. And everybody stay safe.
I think we have a new slogan, not just don't crowd the plow. What was that again? You're not going to beat a plow, no way, no how? I think there's a children's book in this.
And Governor, Director of State Operations, Catherine Garcia.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Commissioners. As I like to say in the state of New York, if it's August, then we're thinking about snow. Because it does take the entire team, both from the Department of Transportation and the Thruway Authority, as well as all of our local partners, to make sure that every bridge, every road stays safe, primarily to make sure that we can get emergency vehicles through, because we want you to be staying home and staying safe today. And if you think about ice, it's like a half an inch doesn't sound like that much. A half an inch of ice would be a half a foot of snow. And so that is the amount of liquid volume we are dealing with. But we know that we have plenty of assets out on the roads, and we will continuously be salting and plowing during this entire event. We know that when people lose power, they also lose heat. So please do not use your stove or leave a space heater unattended. That might be something that could combust. The county executive is going to talk a little bit more about where there are warming centers. But know that the utility crews are on their way, and we are working in coordination with them to make sure that we are dealing with the big tree branches that might be down across the roads. And again, if you see a wire down, do not touch it. It is very likely to still be live. And while it is absolutely lovely to see the ice on all of the tree branches, It is incredibly dangerous to our power system and obviously to the roads. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to the governor. Actually, I'm going to ask the county executive, Pat Ryan, to step up and say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Governor, for being here. As always, you're leading from the front, and we appreciate the responsiveness and your leadership. I want to make sure I have updated numbers here. So as you heard, we've had and are having significant ice accumulation. We expect up to 1/2 inch. The main impact has been near unprecedented numbers of tree limbs, trees, and power lines down, which is severely disrupting movement for everyone and causing massive power outages. The roads in many places, especially secondary roads, remain very dangerous and slippery, but thanks to our great teams from the state to the county to the city and the towns, major roads are pretty smooth right now, and we think will continue to improve. Our main focus collectively from the state on down is making sure, right now we have 39,156 homes. That's nearly half of our households in the county without power on a very cold and wet day. And because of that volume of power outages, it will take some time to get full restoration. So a big part of our effort is, of course, we have our warming shelter open in Midtown Kingston currently, but we'll be announcing in the next few hours significant additional options throughout the county, both in the Kingston area as well as the southern part of the county, warm places for shelter so that everyone in the county can make sure tonight, if you're still without power, that you'll have a warm and safe place to be, and we'll be communicating that throughout the day with help from the governor's team and all of our towns. In particular, the city of Kingston, and we'll hear from Mayor Noble in a second, has been hit especially hard on all these dimensions. So all of us are surging resources to support you, Mayor, and we'll continue to do that. So yes, we do want people to stay home, but be mindful that there will be a significant number of homes who will have enduring power outages, and if you're one of those homes, stay tuned for more information and we'll be supporting you. I've been in direct contact with the Central Hudson team. I want to thank them. They're surging crews here now, as you heard, with more coming from around the region, and we appreciate that. And again, Governor Hochul, want to thank you for bringing your Buffalo winter storm experience here to Ulster County. We need all the help we can get, and your collective team. And I'll be followed by Mayor Steve Noble.
Thank you very much, County Executive. Yes, the City of Kingston has been hit very hard today as we wake up. We have over 50% of our residents here in the City of Kingston without power. Again, our utility crews are working as quickly as possible, but with the sheer number of tree limbs and wires down, it is going to take time to get to all of you. We have issued a state of emergency in the City of Kingston to be able to make sure that all of our departments have the resources they need to be able to help with these cleanup efforts. But we do ask that all unnecessary travel be extremely limited at this time. We have opened Kingston City Hall for an emergency warming and electric facility for folks who may need to be hooked up to electric for their medical device or any type of special needs, as well as warming needs. However, the roads here in Kingston are extremely difficult. I live only 1 mile from City Hall, and it took me 20 minutes to get there with just the sheer number of roads and detours that I had to take. And so I would encourage you, if you do not have to go outside, please do not. Locally here in this area of Ulster County, and just as the county executive said, we will be opening additional larger shelters as necessary as we move on throughout the day. I do want to just take a moment to thank all of our first responders who have been out there working in these dangerous conditions to be able to clear the path for our utility crews to get into place to be able to do their work. But again, if folks have more information, they can check out our website. And again, I'm going to turn it now back over to the governor to close today's event.
Thank you. Thank you. So you've just seen evidence of what teamwork looks like. Fighting a storm is a major event. It is a serious matter, and we're not out of the danger zone yet. And that is the seriousness with which we're approaching this, to let everyone know we have the resources on the ground, but the weather is wildly unpredictable, and we cannot foresee, which limbs are going to come down when. And if you're in a vehicle and you're driving down a tree-lined street, you are at risk of having a tree limb coated with ice falling on your vehicle and creating a very treacherous situation for you. So please be cognizant of that. As much as it does look pretty once the ice is on the trees, they will snap and fall. I remember one event I was participating in, we lost 13,000 trees, and they were all over houses, damaging roofs, damaging driveways and people's vehicles. And so please take that very seriously. I will say that as we're managing this event, while the snow and the freezing rain are falling, there's something else that is falling, and those are our COVID infection rates. So this is the good news. We continue to see a decline. Our 7-day average is down. The number of cases at 7,700, down from, for context, they were at 90,000 just less than a month ago. To have been down that dramatically is just incredible. Mid-Hudson area, 795 cases. Ulster County down to 92. So that is the graph we've been wanting to see. We're very excited about these numbers and are going to make sure that those stay in that range. That is going to give people a lot more comfort as we go forward. So very positive news about those numbers going down. Our statewide infection rate, I've been waiting to say this, is at 4.4%. That is the statewide average, nearly a 19% drop from our peak just exactly a month ago. And our single highest one day was 23%. Again, we're down to 4 from 23%. Mid-Hudson is about 4.6. So this is a very good trend for us. And hospitalization, something you all know I've been monitoring closely, our hospital capacity. And we're concerned about, we still have National Guard deployed in some of our hospitals and our nursing homes to supplement the staffing situation, which is literally a crisis. So many people were sick themselves or left their careers after being under tremendous stress for the last 2 years. And so we've had a shortage of workers, something I address in my budget, but also knowing that the number of people needing hospitalization is going down. Again, always the lagging indicator. Infections go down, people sick enough to go to a hospital goes down, and hopefully we'll start seeing the number of people pass away reduced to 0 before long. It's still 110 New Yorkers we lost just yesterday, so let's not forget them. Another milestone, I'm watching the vaccination rates, and adults have done great. They really have over 95%, and the reason we don't have an exact number is we don't have always the number of someone who may have over the winter been in Florida, got their shot, their vaccination at a local provider, a local drugstore. So we don't have exact numbers, so we know it's higher than 95%, which is fabulous news. And I've always been concerned about our younger people as different age groups have been eligible. 12 to 17 have been eligible since June. So been a while, but we finally hit 80% of them have gotten their first dose. Parents, teenagers, get signed up for that second dose and then get the booster, because then you'll have that full suit of armor that you need around you to protect you. So our focus is really to have your younger siblings do what you did, teenagers, and let's get them vaccinated. 5 to 11, we're making some progress. Our first dose is approaching 40%, but that's been eligible for a while, and we're also waiting news very soon to hear whether or not our children, our youngest children, ages 2 to 5 will be eligible for this. And I spoke to Dr. Fauci just a couple days ago about the progress we're making on that front. So we're getting there, but I would love to see that trend line of younger children more vaccinated as we start making decisions about schools. And that's something we get asked a lot about. When are masks coming off in schools? We'll be making some announcements in the short term as we see these numbers progressing. But I'm also watching vaccination rates. So that's a message to all parents and school leaders and teachers and influencers that the more children we have vaccinated, the safer they'll be when they go to school at the time we get to when they won't need a mask anymore, which we're striving for, but we're just not there yet. But let's know that there's a very safe way to get there, and that is getting more kids vaccinated. Also, we have been so aggressive, more aggressive than any state in the nation in terms of acquiring millions and millions of test kits, knowing that people at home can find out if they're positive. If they're positive, even if they don't feel symptoms, they're still contagious, they stay home. That's how we've been stopping the spread. That's one of the reasons we're driving down those Omicron numbers, because New Yorkers have been so smart about this, and I want to thank all of them. And if you just compare literally from March of 2020 when this started to November 2021, we had about 17 million test kits out there, PCR and rapid tests. That's a great number, but literally in a month, we have massed enough, we got them out. 23 million have been distributed, all part of our winter surge plan. Again, we started massing upwards of 85 million, which we're still receiving every single week. We're getting another supply. These are really important for our nursing homes, for have them in schools. My main goals have been keeping schools open, and when someone tests positive, we now have the capacity, we've been doing this since December, to send the children home with test kits so mom and dad don't have to worry about it. They can test their children before they send them back. This will be really important as we start heading into the winter break coming up over the next few weeks, depending on the school district. So we're going to be making sure all the children are going home with test kits so they don't come back if they test positive. So this has been an incredible effort. I want to thank all the state workers and the members of our team who've made this happen. It's been my highest priority to make sure we use all the resources at our disposal, managing hospital capacity, test kits, vaccinations, mask wearing, everything we possibly could do. And that is one of the reasons why we are starting to see really the snow clouds parting when it comes to this winter surge of the Omicron pandemic. So we're going to keep using all the tools, getting kids vaccinated, wearing cloths, wearing masks. And again, just tell them if you're not feeling great, stay home. The weather's bad anyhow. You're not missing anything. So we're recommending that. And also, it's time to start talking about our post-pandemic phase, our post-surge phase, because we did really see a major spike starting December 2nd when our first Omicron case hit the state of New York. And it went up very quickly, dramatically. You saw this in real time as we talked about it almost daily. So right now we're in an information gathering stage. I've always said I'll make decisions on any of our requirements that we've had in place based on the data. Not by pressure, not by whims, not by just waking up one day and saying it's time. It is all based on data. So that process has been ongoing, but literally, as I mentioned, I spoke with Dr. Fauci. We're talking to hospital leaders. I have calls with many leaders this afternoon to find out how they're feeling about the situation, the business community that's been affected, educators, as well as local government leaders, bringing them all to the table as we start saying, yes, it appears the worst of the winter surge is over. We predicted that. Just asking everybody as you're making your Super Bowl plans, not that anybody really cares this year, because shouldn't say that, but I'm going to care more next year when some of my New York teams are in there. But that is, we track this. We showed all the points of vulnerability, and that was when people were gathering indoors. It was Thanksgiving, it was the December holidays, Hanukkah and Christmas. Then it was New Year's Eve. And as we approach Valentine's Day, Super Bowl, all these other activities, this will be sort of the tail end of when we are concerned about this. So just be smart about it. New Yorkers, I have to tell you, and all the business owners who've been following what we've been asking to do, you are the reason we're seeing these numbers, and I don't take that for granted. So to everyone who had to enforce these rules, not always popular, you did the right thing, and that is why we'll be out of this before. We have the best numbers of any large state, which is what we're tracking. We're doing better because we've been smart, and that's why we're be able to talk about this post-surge phase, gathered the data, assess it, talk to my health commissioner experts, and then make some decisions in the next few days, the next few weeks about the requirements that we have in place to keep people safe and whether or not they're going to be as necessary. So we'll be talking some more about that next week, but in the meantime, let's continue using the tools available to us. And again, thank you to all the men and women who are literally in harm's way, driving our plows, the emergency responders, the utility crews who are out there, all of them. Sometimes you overlook them, you just assume they're doing their job. They are extraordinary individuals. They're part of the New York family, and I want to thank all of them for what they do, as well as our partners in government. Again, Senator Hinchy is here, Senator Cahill, great leaders that we have representing this area as well, and to our county executive, our mayor, and my dream team. If it's Friday, we're together talking about a storm. So, all right, thank you, everybody. Appreciate you coming.